I am painting a figure from a photograph. This is the same painting that I did in another video right here, but in this video, as I'm painting this same painting, I want to explain a few important things about painting from a photograph. A lot of times when paintings that are done from photographs, they have a certain flat look to them. Regardless of how good the photo is, there's a certain flatness. It's not usually a tonal flatness, but it's a color flatness. What happens, I think, in most photos is that the camera, for whatever reason, tends to flatten the color spectrum. It only captures a certain amount of it, and photos tend to be mostly warm or mostly cool. With our eyes, we see a broader spectrum, and what's happening is when you have a light that's coming down that might have a cool tone to it, the shadow from that light tends to be the opposite in that color spectrum. It'll be warmer. There'll be a warm hue to it. And then conversely, if there's a very warm light shining down, like noonday sun or a lot of incandescent lights will be very warm, then the shadow will be more cool. Knowing this very basic bit of information can help you or recreate an image when you're using a photograph as reference. It's very important to think about not copying the image, but recreating it. So painting from a photograph, it's really easy to get tied up in all the details that you see in the photo. In this one where the model is in a room, I could easily get hung up in painting the architecture of the room, which I don't want to do. I don't want any focus on that at all. The fact that I'm timing myself to an hour will help me with that. So when painting from a photo, it is a really great value to take this approach, time yourself, put a time limit on it, and once you get past that time, just stop and sit back and just look it over and see the painting for what it is and not the photograph. So here I have a very loose foundation. I'm leaving the white of the canvas. It's very runny all in the background. That's going to be the look that I'll be going for in this piece. But most importantly, I'm already defining the contrast of the color temperature. Now, the white of this dress is not painted white. It's actually white with a little bit of ultramarine blue, and it quickly starts to, as it gets a little bit darker, that color changes using a very, very slight amount of alizarin crimson, and then it gets a little darker still, now mixing in with transparent red oxide and viridian green. The coolness of the dress will be the highlight. That's the point where it has the most of that light shining down on her, which I think it was actually like an LED light, but it doesn't even matter. If you're not even sure, if you're looking at, it could be out in daylight or something, just pick what it's going to be. Will the highlights and the darkest darks, whether it's, you're not sure if it's really cool or warm, just make sure they're opposite. And if you stick with that, it will have more depth to the structure that you're painting, and it will look less flat. The only other thing that I'm going to do here to really pull out, looking at the colors, will be just bring out a few more cool highlights in the hair, and I want to cool off a little bit of this area in the legs and maybe a little bit in the hand. But overall, in painting from a photograph, it's pretty obvious here that you see I'm just using that photograph as a reference and creating something that's totally my own now. Anyways, painting from photographs, do a lot more. Most of my paintings are from photographs, but I do a lot of, or have done a lot of, life study work too. So if you're going to paint predominantly from photograph, I really urge you to get in figure drawing classes and figure painting classes as often as you can. What you will learn in those actual moments of life painting will be invaluable. That is all for today. I hope this has been helpful to you. If it has, please let me know. If you have any other thoughts on this or everything I'm saying, I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to see more from me, then click subscribe and be more videos next week. I'm Abraxas, and thanks for watching.
The urban disciple has arrived. I transcribe.